Alright fellow hunters, this is a video I honestly didn't expect to be doing so soon. Leave it to Capcom to defy my expectations. I legit just dropped a short this morning talking about how we're probably not going to get a demo, and here I am, caught by a Rathian with an egg in my hands. Today, we're covering a few topics from the Monster Hunter Wilds Showcase announcement. First off and foremost, we have an officially announced demo, where we'll be covering what's included, when you can access the demo, and how to participate. Second, we'll be recapping the different versions of Monster Hunter and what bonuses you can get access to between now and release, as well as how to get them. So for those of you who are looking to stay spoiler-free, there's also a new trailer from the announcement with lots to digest and cover there, including a new locale, new monsters, and new story beats. I'll actually be covering that in a separate video where I'll deep dive into the trailer, so you won't have to worry about spoilers in this one. We'll only be covering the open beta and the digital bonuses available. So if you haven't already done so, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give a like on the video. I've been covering Monster Hunter Wilds since it's announced at TGA 2023, and your support has meant the world to me. Those of you who have been with me back when I was below 500 subscribers, y'all know who you are. If any of you feel like leveling up that support, there are some fun membership perks to show off your support of the channel as well. Link in the description below. Diving in, Capcom dropped an epic bombshell on us, officially confirming that there will be an open beta test coming next week. Legit, the Monster Hunter team hasn't left the kitchen in years, and I know how many of us have been eagerly awaiting the news on when a demo would drop. As with most beta tests, this will be a limited time only. The open beta test begins Thursday, October 31st at 8 p.m. Pacific time. Happy Halloween! And ends Sunday, November 3rd at 7 p.m. Pacific time. With the heavy emphasis and buy-in from Sony with Wilds, if you're a PS Plus subscriber, you get early access to the open beta starting Monday, October 28th at 8 p.m. Pacific, giving you a whole week of open beta. In the demo itself, you'll have access to 3 major segments: character creation, a story trial, and the Doshaguma Hunt we should be familiar with from the Gamescom demos featured earlier this year. Unlike the Gamescom variant, however, the character creator won't be limited to prefabricated hunter templates, although I'm sure you'll be able to use them if you wish. But who are we kidding? Character creator is a huge part of any self-insert RPG, and you know we're all going to be sitting with it for a good long while. You'll be able to customize your hunter and your palico as many times as you like, without limit. And to sweeten the deal, you can transfer the character you create in the beta test over to the full release in February. Can I get a "so tasty" in the comments?
So tasty!
On the other hand, although sacred customization is confirmed, it appears that this will be handled via a separate gameplay segment or configuration option. It isn't baked into the character creator itself. Likely, I imagine this will allow us to customize our sacred differently than how we would if we were creating our hunter or palico. In the second part of the demo, the story trial, we'll get the opening cutscene, basic tutorials, and get an understanding of the gameplay mechanics with the Chotacabra hunt. Some of this was showcased in the trailer unveiled at Gamescom and should look familiar to you. Additionally, there appears to be low risk on spoilers, as this should be identical to the opening of the game at release, with only the potential for some minor differences. And then the final part of the demo is the Doshaguma Hunt. This is the demo that the Monster Hunter team and attendees of Gamescom played during the live streams, where we'll be tasked with taking down the Alpha Doshaguma. In both the story trial and the Doshaguma Hunt, we'll also have access to the use of SOS flares. As this will be an open beta test, part of the intended use for Capcom is to stress test their servers. This means that crossplay will be in full swing, and we'll have the opportunity to play with fellow hunters, all on our own preferred hardware. If there happens to be no one available to answer the SOS, you'll have access to NPC support hunters instead. There are some limitations here, however. Capcom has provided a list of requirements for participation and eligibility on their website. I'll be linking this in the description below, which you will want to bookmark for yourself. Among these limitations include age verification, an account on your desired platform, and an environment that is capable of participating. Pretty standard stuff. But if you click the Open Beta Test Operating Environment button, it simply scrolls down to the required environment specifications on the page, with additional requirements like having broadband internet, 29 gigs of free space, a PS5, Xbox Series console, or a PC with the latest AMD drivers if you're using an AMD GPU, and of course Steam installed. Clicking into this open beta test operating environment just redirects you to the minimum and recommended specs that we've all seen on the Steam page already. This should spark some ideas from the PC-based hunters, something that we've all been talking about for a while now. How will this perform on our respective PC? To be clear, I don't think you'll be excluded from being allowed into the open beta if you don't meet the minimum requirements.
Nice screensaver.
However, it's highly likely that if your system can't physically run Wilds, your participation will organically be hamstrung. This is a good opportunity for all of us, console hunters included, to try out the game and see for ourselves exactly how well the game runs and what sort of visual quality we can expect on our respective hardware. Additionally, there's a survey request subsegment on the page where we'll be able to provide our feedback on our experiences, as well as a couple of icons as swag for filling it out. The survey period will run from October 29th to November 8th, 2024, and does require a Capcom ID account to validate. So cool, how do we join? It's actually pretty simple. As long as you meet the criteria noted in the conditions for participation section, all you have to do is use the link on the page to authenticate the beta test for your particular platform. I believe they're doing this because it's likely that the demo isn't going to be publicly published on the respective marketplaces. Therefore, you have to opt in through the link and likely log in from there. The pre-download will be available 24 hours in advance of the beta going live, so we should have plenty of time to authenticate, download, and install ahead of time. I do, however, want to highlight the points of caution lower on the page. Apart from the usual verbiage about subject to change or unexpected behavior due to a beta version of the game, there's something that sticks out to me like a sore thumb. The test itself requires a stable internet connection and is for online use only. In other words, it can't be played offline whatsoever. Now, before you jump to any conclusions on this, I don't believe that's representative of the end product. I recognize that there's some games that won't work at all unless they can validate against an authentication server, but in this case, I believe it's a security mechanism to prevent folks from trying to game the system and play the demo outside of open beta hours. The final release will likely take shape similarly to Monster Hunter World, where it's largely online, but you can continue in offline mode or play in offline mode at will. This is further evidenced by the NPC SOS hunters available to assist solo players. With that in mind, you better believe we're going to get as much of this demo in as possible. So that was a lot of ground to cover, and I certainly think that this is a big deal for Monster Hunter fans everywhere. We've been talking about it non-stop ever since the game was announced. I'm excited for this, and I imagine that you are too. However, there's also a long list of swag to get for those of us who are hungry to show off our nerd cred when the game releases. So, now we're going to cover all the bonuses that we can get our hands on and how to get them. First and foremost, we're already familiar with the 3 different digital editions available for pre-order. There's the Standard Edition, Deluxe Edition, and Premium Deluxe Edition. The Deluxe pack includes this whole rash of cosmetics displayed here. The Premium Edition bonuses come with additional cosmetics, a 2025 edition of Proof of a Hero, and effectively a season pass to the next 2 cosmetic DLC packs coming in spring and summer of 2025. While this is nice, these aren't missable, and the add-on content associated with the deluxe editions will be made available for general purchase after the game's release. On the physical side, there's only a regular edition and a steelbook edition. No deluxe DLC or cosmetics, which will have to be purchased after release. Capcom Japan is literally out here offering an ultra collector's edition with a whole ass bike, even for the Steam edition, but no word on any collector's editions outside of Japan. As it stands, I think there's still hope we might get a collector's edition for Western audiences, but I'm waiting for further confirmation to say for sure. Additionally, if you have Monster Hunter World or Iceborne save data, you'll unlock some familiar looking Palico cosmetics as well. You do need to make sure, however, that if you played on PS4 or Xbox One, that the save data is migrated over to your PS5 or Xbox Series console to be able to redeem. Now for the missable stuff. You will need to pre-order the game to get access to the limited bonus, which includes the Guild Knight set as well as the Hope Charm Talisman. Additionally, the Monster Hunter Wilds digital mini art book is exclusive to pre-orders from the PlayStation Store. If you happen to play on PS5 and prefer to have physical copies of your games, you won't have access to this bonus. Next, for participating in the open beta test, you'll get some nice consumables, which will be handy in the early game, but more enticingly, a nice little pendant to show off how you were here for the beta. And last, there are some SNS icons that I mentioned earlier for providing feedback in the survey request section of the site. And that about does it. If there are any that I missed, make sure to speak up in the comments below. Definitely want to stay on top of this as much as I can. We as a community are eating good this week, and I recently had the pleasure of discussing Wilds with fellow Monster Hunter creator J-Can, who's recently undertaken a challenge to be Elatrian with every weapon in Monster Hunter World before Wilds release. There will be a card to the video in the upper right, and if you like my content, you're bound to enjoy his. For me, I'm looking to answer a few things with this demo. One, I want to get a feel for how the game runs and performs. I have a few different PCs in the house of varying specs because the 1080p 60 requiring frame generation at medium graphics settings seems exorbitant. Two, I want to compare the performance impact between the variety of graphical presets to benchmark the frame rates for low, medium, high, and potentially ultra graphic settings. 3, I also want to play with resolution and performance. Most of my gaming is in 4K, but the recommended is for 1080p. We shouldn't have to play the game at low settings just to be able to get 30 FPS in 4K. And 4, I want to contrast and compare the gameplay and weapons themselves. I actually want to play the game, so I'll be making sure to get some recordings and some video and footage for future videos. So, I turn to you, fellow hunter. What are you looking to get out of the demo? And is there anything you'd like me to cover or to provide answers for? Sound off in the comments below. I'm Jade, and I'll be covering as much Monster Hunter Wilds between now and the game's release. I've had such an awesome experience getting to engage with passionate, like-minded hunters like yourself, and we're only just getting started. On screen is a playlist of my other videos covering Monster Hunter Wilds, so if you're new here, please feel free to check them out in the meanwhile. Until the next video, where I'll be covering the new trailer, may the Sapphire Star guide your way.